Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Reseller's Journey. Here is your host, ebayjoey.
Welcome to A Reseller's Journey Season 3. I am your host, ebayjoey. Today's guest is having success in the reselling game. He is selling books, sneakers, swimming pools, and anything he can get his hands on. Representing the Temecula Valley, he goes by the name Hustle for Profits, but his family calls him Delver. Welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, man, for having me. Uh, how's it going?
It's going great, man. How was your day so far?
Good, man. Busy since the morning. Been out there sourcing.
Yeah, man. I see your IG stories. You're out there, bro. You do everything. Construction, barbecue, swimming, reselling, sourcing. Is there anything
Yeah.
you don't do? Is there anything you don't do, Delver?
Oh, man. It's hard to think about it. I think I do everything except for in legal stuff.
Oh, that's cool, man. Now I'm excited to have you on the show, man. I know we're pretty much like neighbors. I mean, we're only what, like 15, 20 minutes apart from each other, so it's cool to spend some time and interview you.
Yeah, one day we get together to do a barbecue.
Oh, that's it, man. I'm ready, man. Once this whole virus thing is just over, I'm all about it.
Yeah. No, let's get together, dude. I mean, like you said, we're neighbors. We can even do a day trip. Let's go source and see what we find.
Hey, I'm down with that, man. You know what? I'm actually looking forward towards sourcing with other resellers. I'm working on a segment, and so we'll document that and put on the YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, I mean, you always learn something different. Everybody sources different. Everybody has different strategies, and it's always
Hmm.
good to know how someone else does it. Learn something different.
Yeah,
Get ideas out of it.
absolutely, man. You know, that's one thing in life that it's what I like to practice is how can I learn something new every day? You know, and whether it's something small, big, or whatever, but I'm always having that perspective, like let's learn today.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're not learning something new every day, I mean, you have to be doing something wrong. I mean, you have to do
Yeah.
something every single day. You have to learn something. It doesn't matter what it is. Uh,
Hmm.
that little something is gonna be a big something later down the road.
Yeah, no, I agree, man, 100%. All right, man. So you ready to get this interview started?
Yeah, let's go, man.
Let's do it. Let's give it to the people. So how'd you come up with your name, Hustle for Profits with the Z?
Dude, like, man, honestly, I didn't even give it too much thought. I was just thinking, hey, something that was cool. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be hustling, so hey, and then hopefully I was gonna make some profit. So hustle for
Hmm.
profit, and then ended up with the Z because hustle for profit with an S was already taken, and it was an active account, so I wasn't trying to like, hey, take an account that was out there putting work. This is account maybe I don't know 5 years inactive with maybe
Hmm.
10 followers, and he wasn't even following anyone. So I was like, you know what? Let me take this name, and I'm pretty sure I could make it work.
Nice, man. I like it. I was actually thinking about it. I was like, what happened to the S? But now we know what happened, man. This guy was sitting on this account, and it's actually funny because a long time ago, Tony Hawk wanted to start an Instagram, and there was somebody that had his name on their account, but it wasn't the real Tony Hawk. So I guess he talked to the people at Instagram, and they're able to kick that guy out because sometimes people want to sell those names, Delver, and then make
Oh,
some money off of it. So they'll take famous people or maybe sports teams or whatever.
maybe I should reach out and see how much money he wanted for this account.
Yeah, man. So where are you based out of?
I'm right here in South Corona. It's known now as Temesco Valley.
Okay. So for people that don't know where South Corona is, how far would you say you're from like Los Angeles and then San Diego area?
I'm like kind of in the middle. So it would
Uh-huh.
take me about an hour and a half to San Diego, about an hour and a half to LA. With no traffic, doing 80, maybe 45 an hour.
So are you were you born and raised in South Corona?
I know. I'm actually, I'm from originally from El Salvador. I came when I was a little
Okay.
kid, and I grew up in South Central LA.
Oh, yeah. How long were you in South Central for?
Since I was 8 years old until I got married and bought a house out here. Man,
Okay.
I'd say what, like at least 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's probably a big difference, right, from the South Central compared to South Corona.
Oh, cheers, day and night. No comparison.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, man, I used to go to the Forum, and the Forum was in Inglewood, or it still is in Inglewood. And I remember, man, like we used to drive during the daytime to get to the Forum, and then at night, and I would trip out because I would see like on the houses were smaller, but then you would see like they would have like the bars in the front, but then they would have like a BMW 7 Series. You'll see like Mercedes Benz just chilling on the front. I was like, man, what the heck's going on out here? But it was definitely a trip, though, man.
No, it's different. Let's say that much.
Yeah,
You never know what you're gonna run into in South Central. I mean, there's good parts out of it. You learn a lot.
yeah,
You get to learn how to hustle and be independent. Let's say that much.
yeah. That's cool, man. So, are you doing reselling part time or full time?
I'm doing full time.
Okay. When did you start doing the full time? Was it when you were living in South Central, or did it start when you're in South Corona?
Actually, it started in South Corona. Since I bought a house out here and I was working in Manhattan Beach, it's about
Hmm.
an hour and a half drive. So it was just killing me. I hated driving. I hated the traffic. So me and my wife were like, hey, we need to figure out something. And we just like, hey, you know what? Let's go full throttle on reselling and let's make it happen.
Yeah. What's your background? What were you doing? Like, what was your 9 to 5?
I used to be an internet director for a Toyota dealership.
Oh, okay. So just got out of that business. You said, you know what? I'm gonna create my own.
Pretty much. It was a crazy decision, to be honest with you. I just hated the drive too much about it. And,
Hmm.
sometimes I have second thoughts. Am I making the right decision? But I'm just glad I did. I'm happy reselling. Thankfully, everything worked out.
Yeah, and you said that your wife is you mentioned your wife, but is she doing the reselling with you, or does she have like a 9 to 5, or is she a stay-at-home mom? Was
So she was a stay-at-home mom when I was
Yeah.
working at Toyota. Now she's
Okay.
full-time reseller like me. She's
Oh, wow.
we're a team. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, I love your IG stories, and for people that are not following you, I encourage them to follow you. We'll put a link down below. But it's cool
Appreciate it,
to
man.
see a couple, man. It really is because uh, similar situation. We were talking off air as we were getting to know each other, but like you have 3 kids, I have 2 kids, very similar in age, but it's just like having kids is full time in itself, just with the responsibility. And, we're doing this interview. Right now it's 11 o'clock, because our kids are down, our wives are down, and now we're doing this. But talk about like how important it is that your spouse is helping you with the reselling business.
Dude, I think I wouldn't be able to make it, honestly. Uh, she's supportive. She has helped me out through this journey since the beginning.
Mm,
Um, and just the support alone, it means a lot. And she's a hustler, dude. Like she goes out there
yeah.
and she looks for stuff to, flip to make money. Just to give you an idea, I was making 6 figures when I quit. So I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
I needed to
Yeah.
make something real quick to make it happen. My mortgage is $3,000, so we're like, hey, are
Ooh,
we making the right decision
right.
to go full time reselling? And she just like, hey, you know what, Silver, you hate the job, well,
Yeah.
didn't hate the job. I hate the drive. She goes, you hate the drive. You talk about spending time with the kids, spending time at home. Let's just make it happen. And I'm thankful that she's been there with me, and she's just been pushing through all this, and now we're here.
Yeah. So when you started going full time, did you know anything about reselling? I mean, you go from internet director into like a full-time reseller. At that point, are you reselling part-time?
So I was reselling a little bit. I didn't have the need to. I just did it more as a hobby, and I just liked it. It was something
Mm,
that I've been doing since 2016. I used to start selling Funko Pops, anything I could find, that was really cheap. I started on Mercari actually. I
yeah.
sold so many Funko Pops, and it was something like, it was just more like a thrill. Like, oh my God, I could get this Funko Pop for $8 and sell it for
Uh-huh.
30. And there was no need for me, thankfully, because I had a good paying job. So I was just doing it as a hobby, and then eventually that hobby now is my, livelihood. That's what's paying all the bills.
Yeah. So would you now that you're full-time reseller, you and the wife, did you end up getting like all your paperwork, like your business license, your seller's permit? Did you go like full on, like corporation or sole proprietor?
I did. I did.
Okay.
Just the reason because we have a house, we want to make sure that we're safe in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
We read a lot of, bad stories where, a person gets sued for something that didn't have nothing to do with them. And then they'll go
Yeah,
after the house or go after their
absolutely.
personal assets. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do this. Let's do it right. So I did open an LLC.
Okay.
I went through the whole process and, so everything I run it through the business name.
Yeah, so for the LLC, because both of us are in California, and I thought about doing an LLC, but it was pretty expensive. But I ended up doing this, the S corp. How much was the LLC, and how long did it take to finalize, the transition for the business?
So it wasn't that long. And have in mind, I started selling right away. So technically,
Yeah,
I wasn't selling under the LLC from the
yeah,
get-go. I guess I was sole proprietary, or how they call it.
yeah.
So with the LLC, I apply on it. I think it was February. Within 2 weeks, they gave me the name, like, hey, you're good to
Yeah.
go. I think the LLC, I paid about $250, if I'm not
Oh, wow.
mistaken.
Okay.
And then I had to pay like a $600 or $800 yearly fee.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, so I forgot what that fee for. I didn't like it though. I was
yeah.
surprised about it.
Yeah, it's an annual fee for the LLCs in California. I mean,
Yeah,
every
every
state's
April.
different. Yeah, every state's different. And so, are you filing your taxes like quarterly, or are you doing annually?
Annually.
Okay. And so, do you have to your books? You got to show all that. What software are you using to do your books?
So for the books, pretty much we're just gonna. It's something fairly new that is
Yeah.
gonna be this year, so we still haven't figured out exactly. We're trying to keep as much records as we can. Right
Okay.
now, we're buying in bulk, so we're keeping what do you call that, bill of landing, telling us how much
Okay.
we paying for those books. Obviously, expenses like the storage units, selling fees, truck fees, like so. We're writing all that down, but
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna work out at the end of the year. Honestly, at this point, I'm gonna find out when the
Hey,
time
let us
comes.
know, man.
I'll let you know if I'm gonna still be in business or if
I
I'm
know,
gonna owe
bro.
the state a lot of money.
I might have to come by and just buy your whole inventory, bro. Say this guy's out of
Right?
business.
Yeah, if the state of California decided to tax me.
So what platforms are you currently selling on?
Right now, I'm currently on eBay, Amazon, and Poshmark. Those are
Yeah.
the main three ones. And then, obviously we have Mercari. We haven't used that for a minute. StockX and Goat.
Okay. So talk about, like, let the people know why you're not selling on Macari, Go, and StockX at the moment. Like, what's the reason behind it?
So we started this new thing about doing bulk books.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work. So you have to be on top of it. So we focusing a lot on Amazon. So we started selling too much, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
People want to get those sales, but we were selling inventory we didn't have.
Ooh.
So that ended up being a bad thing. And thankfully with Mercari, they don't really, not much gonna happen to you. It's not a major platform that is gonna punish you with,
Mm.
with your seller performance or stuff like that. StockX, it goes based on points, and I just didn't want to lose those points. Obviously, we're being up there. We actually get instant payouts. So like, you know
Oh,
what?
okay.
Let me put it on vacation mode until we could figure it out and get our inventory straight and see what we have available and what we don't. And then the other thing is that a lot of my boxes got damaged. It's just been a mess lately.
Yeah. But the damage, let me say this again. So you're shipping out these boxes and they're getting damaged. Is that by the carrier, or who is
Uh,
that by?
some of them is me because we have so much of so much of the inventory here. It's just like we just throw things here, throw things over there.
Okay.
Especially with books, because with books right now we're not processing everything at the storage unit. Storage unit, we're pretty much just scanning books to see which is a profitable book, which is trash, and which we're gonna sell to like sell back companies. And then everything else we just bring it home. And then pretty much my office is my garage. So here I
Nice.
have shoes, regular inventory, and then the books that we're gonna ship out to Amazon.
Yeah, man, I like your setup. For the people that are listening on the podcast, they definitely should take a look at the YouTube, man. But you do have a nice setup with the racks, and I see some labels on it. We'll talk about that later as far as how you manage your inventory. So you're currently selling on Posh, Amazon, and eBay, and you're talking about the books, and we'll deep a little bit. Uh, we'll talk a little bit more about the books coming up. But what are you currently selling on eBay, Amazon, and Posh? Like, what's the breakdown of the categories?
So eBay is gonna be mixed. So it's gonna be anything that we could find that we could flip for a profit.
Okay.
Uh, so that could be anywhere from shoes, books, electronic, games. You can see I have some puzzles there. It's
Yeah.
been really hot this past few months. I mean, anything pretty much on eBay. Everything goes.
Okay.
And for Poshmark, it's gonna be mostly shoes and some clothing. I really don't like clothing because a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, measurements this, measurement that." I honestly I don't have that much time, so I'm trying to stay away from clothes. But we do have some clothes that we find for really cheap that hey, I cannot pass. I go to
Right.
Ross or Marshalls, find $1 Nike that retails for $50. I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, definitely. And then Amazon, is that just solely books only?
So yes, it's gonna be pretty much books. Lately, we have been introducing other stuff like weights, pools, and then we slowly are getting ungated on different brands. So I'm introducing different brands as well. But
Yeah,
not
man, I saw. Yeah, I saw that. I think recently you got ungated on Sony.
yeah, yeah, that's a big one.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
congratulations.
Yeah, and don't ask me how. I just apply and they just told me, hey, you're good to go based on your performance. I was even
Yeah.
shocked myself. I was like, oh, I don't know if it was a glitch on the system, but
Yeah.
hey, I could sell Sony now.
Yeah, man, I think that's an auto ungate. So I think, for a lot of people that do sell on Amazon, you want to sell as much as you can. You'll hear that phrase, feed the beast. And sometimes when you're feeding the beast with Amazon, it'll open up other brands that you can get ungated in, but you have to sell stuff. And so I think for people out there that want to get ungated, sell as many stuff as possible, be clean, ship on time, and then hopefully that can open up the door for you later on.
Yeah, and that's one thing about books. It gives you the opportunity a lot
Yeah.
faster than other things. Just the fact that we volume. I mean, we sell $7 books.
Yeah.
We sold this last month and we sold like 600-700 books. So it's not that big of a volume like other sellers, but it's quite a bit. So I think that takes in account when you're trying to get ungated.
Yeah, let's talk about the business model because I've seen a couple people that they do books, and it seems like it's a really good business. I've seen people do the FBA, the books for Amazon, and I've seen people like go to estate sales that I follow on Instagram, and they're just buying as many books. And then I heard people going to the Goodwill and scanning. So, what made you want to get into books? Like, how did that come out to play?
So when I started reselling, we started actually just buying stuff from Target, Walmart, all those clearance items. And then I started getting into IG, started sharing my journey. And then someone reached out to me, hey, are you buying books? And I'm like, what would I be buying books? I
Right.
and then I started scanning books at the Walmarts. I'm like, well, there's nothing here. Like they're selling for $2 on eBay and they're asking for
Yeah.
$20 on Walmart and stuff like that. And then I started getting more curious about it. So I started following people that were selling books. Sorry, my headphones fell. I started following people that were selling books on IG. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, that's interesting. They're getting the books from Goodwill. And that's how I actually ended up with Goodwill too. So I ended up going to Goodwill's after that. And I still couldn't figure it out. So I started reaching out to people. Hey, what is it that you do with books? How you buy them? What software are you using? And then they started pointing me to the right direction. Like, hey, get Scoutly. It's $10 a month, and you could scan books and it'll tell you what's good or what's bad. So I was like,
Okay.
hey, let me go ahead and try the app. I tried it, downloaded on my phone, and then went to Google, started scanning books. I'm like, wow, this is so easy. And I don't know if it just happened that I got lucky. The first day I went, I got like 20 bucks. I was like, oh my God, this is too easy. Like,
Yeah.
dude, according to the Scoutly, I made like $300. I was like, just like that.
Yeah, that's good.
And then, and that triggered me. I was like, hey, you know what? Books is a good business to get into. It's going to be good money. And then that's when I started getting into Amazon, figuring it out, the Amazon game. You know,
Yeah.
let me send these books to Amazon, FBA. Let's get this going. And then I cherry picked roughly for like 8 months, I think, or 6 to 8 months. Just going to Goodwill's, going to a garage sale and scanning books.
Yeah, and so you said you've been doing that for the last 6 to 8 months. So like you're reselling for a year and a half, and then you said, okay, let's get into the book game.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay, so are you using an inventory lab for the FBA part?
Yes, I am. Inventory lab.
Okay, and then when it comes to scanning, is there like a special scanner that you're using that people might be interested, or are you using like just the old school one like you see at a store?
No, so I'm using like the scanner itself. I'm using ebayjoey, just a regular scanner, Bluetooth scanner. The software we're using right now, unfortunately, is beta, and we cannot share.
Okay.
We cannot share what it is that tells us,
Okay.
which is good or bad. But one software that's really good that everybody should try is Scout IQ. Sorry.
Scout IQ. Okay.
Scout IQ is, I think, like $14 a month, and is set up for beginners, ready to go. So the only thing you have to do is download the app and go to your Google and start scanning books.
Yeah, and how about the inventory lab? Is there a fee for that?
There is, I believe, $49 a month.
Okay.
You get your first month free if you have an Amazon seller account. It's definitely worth it. Let me tell you, when we first were doing it, we were doing it through Amazon Seller Central. We're putting the inventory there. We're printing stickers. Yeah. I remember doing one batch was like 150 bucks. It took me 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah. So putting them into the system wasn't bad, but once you put them in the system, you have to say, hey, how many books are in this box? What books are in this box? And then you have to print those labels, and that just took forever. I know some people could pay for Amazon to do that. It's like 20 cents, but we want to maximize every single, profit that we can. So we were doing it ourselves, but that was a nightmare. And now, we process thousands of books.
Yeah. So let's say, if you were to start all over with that 150 books that took you 4 hours through the Amazon Seller Central, how long would that take going through the inventory lab?
The way we do it now, I'll say maybe an hour.
Oh,
an
wow.
hour and a half.
Okay.
It's fairly quick. I mean, you just scan, input the price, print a sticker, put it on the book, and put it on a box.
Yeah, and I heard it also. Inventory Lab will tell you, which DC to send it to.
Yes. So we have a program. I don't know. Maybe you might be part of it. Are you an Amazon seller?
Yeah, I sell a little bit. Nothing too crazy,
little bit,
man.
That's crazy. Okay. So Amazon, if you within a certain range from the warehouse, they pretty much just send you to the one same location all the time. So for us, it's the Ontario one. We have not sent a shipment anywhere else than Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my belief is that because we're so close to the warehouse, we just send everything there. And I remember getting an email, and this is like almost like 6-7 months ago, and I can't find the whole detail, but something about like, hey, we're gonna be working with sellers that live within close proximity of warehouse or fulfillment center, where you could just send all the stuff there. So we just send everything. Yeah. So our inventory lab, everything goes to Ontario, and it's easy.
Okay. Is that only books, or is that any other items that you might be sending?
I only send books. Every other item we just do an MF, fulfilled by a merchant.
Okay, cool, man. So what's the business model look like? What's the range of profit that you're looking for to make with these books?
So because we buy in bulk, that means I pay for everything already. I pay for trash. I pay
Yeah.
for everything that is in there. So I
Yeah.
try to maximize at least $1. If
$1
I could make
off.
if I could make $1 off of one book, I'll send it in.
Okay, and at that point it's profitable because of the volume you're doing.
Exactly. That at that point you're just 100% value.
Yeah, man. And uh, so those, for people that don't know, and I've been only learning this because I'm watching your channel and I watch some other people with the books, but you're ordering Gaylords, which are these big cardboard. They're all like sitting on a pallet, but how many books will come on a Gaylord?
So it will range. Like I'm telling you, sometimes it's mixed. Sometimes you get,
Yeah,
other stuff like DVDs or, trash.
yeah, I seen
Um,
that.
I'll say anywhere from $600 to $800
Oh, okay, cool.
per
That's
container.
Yeah, that's a lot. Now, also, what was some of the cool things you found in these Gaylords that are not like book related?
We found money. We
Yeah.
found puzzles. I mean, what else we found? We found cool stuff, man. We found video games, like a console. I once
Oh,
found a PlayStation 1. Like,
ooh.
yeah, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It didn't work, unfortunately, but I mean, it still was pretty cool. And then just random stuff, dude. Sometimes it's you just surprise you what you find. So most of it is trash, unfortunately, or we don't know what it is, so we just throw it to the trash. But sometimes we search it up, and then it's worth some money.
Yeah, awesome, man. And since you do so many different things, Hustle for Profits, what does your schedule look like? Because you got the books, you're doing the RA. I don't know if you do any OA, but tell us like what a typical normal day looks like in the life of Hustle for Profits.
So first thing I do is, pretty much wake up and do packages.
Okay.
That usually takes me about 2.5 hours. Um, After that, I do OA. Really small though. I'm not like that
Yeah.
huge on OA. I'm still learning it, so don't ask me a lot of questions about it.
Yeah.
Recently I've been trying to get into it because I see that it is a lot of potential. Um, so I've been trying to do OA kind of to study here and there, and then after that, we'll go ahead and either go to Walmart, uh, Target, and this kind of stores and find clearance items or
Mhm.
items that we know that are hot right now that people are paying more than retail online.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing currently. Once we get back into 100% books, then pretty much my day will be going to the storage unit and scan books.
Yeah, so is your pretty much your business you're pivoting right now due to the times that we're in and doing these other items, and then once things kind of go back to normal, you'll go back to the books?
Yes. So my plan right now is to keep doing RA.
Okay.
Once everything goes back to normal, it's gonna be like 80% books, 20% RA. Maybe
Okay.
focus one day out of the week and go source. But that's not my primary objective right now. The reason is because we want to scale. We want to make sure that we could scale our business, and unfortunately, RA, you could scale yourself, but you cannot hire people to go source for you because why would they do that? They're gonna be like, I could go and do this myself.
Yeah.
With books, I feel like I could potentially, later down life, get a bigger warehouse, hire employees, you know,
Mhm.
tell them what to do, and grow a business like that.
So is that your goal, Hustle for Profits? You do want to scale and have a staff to manage?
Yes, kind of. I mean, I'm not trying to go all crazy and hire 100
Yeah.
employees, but at
Yeah.
least have one or two employees, to be able to scan books, prep the books and ship them to FBA, and I could at least if I need to take a day off, spend with the family, I'll be able to do that.
Nice. So what kind of revenue are you trying to accomplish, like at the max? Like what is the goal? How much revenue do you want to get in sales in 1 year?
Revenue meaning gross or net profit?
Uh let's do both.
Um, I mean, I like to hit a million.
All right, let's do it, man. So you want to get 1 million in sales, and what would you like to gross from that 1 million?
Right now we're averaging about 35-40%. So if I
Okay.
do that, I mean, I'll be sad. Let's say that
Yeah,
much.
hey. You got to have goals, man. That's something that I've been, talking to my wife about, and it's just like, why do people resell? That's kind of like what's been on my mind lately, but it seems like for you, you have a goal. So when you have a goal, Delver, you're more likely to achieve it. And most people just don't know what they really want. Like, is this just lunch money? Is this just to kind of, maybe pay for a couple of expenses? Is it to buy rental property? Why do you resell? And I think that's an achievable goal, man. As long as you execute. I think you really have to execute, but I think it's possible though.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell, and definitely want to head to that direction. But to do that kind of revenue, I do feel that you do need a crew.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't see myself, and I might be wrong. I mean, I might do it
Mm.
myself, but I don't see myself doing R8 and hitting $1 million in sales.
Yeah, I don't see that happening as well. I think realistically, you have to do wholesale. I think you have to have the capability to really buy pallets and truckloads. And I think that's how you really scale. Like, I mean, because if you're only one person, you go to Marshalls, you go to Nike outlet, like how much can you really make?
Like, yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still good money. I mean, you
Yeah.
could still make enough to to live really comfortable. But obviously, we're not yet getting younger. We're getting older,
Yeah.
and
That's right.
eventually, at one point, I mean, you're not gonna be like 50 years old and still going to Marshalls and Ross and trying to find the most popular sneakers out there.
No, I agree, man. So behind you, I see some racks, I see letters on them, F1, F2, F3, F4. Talk about how you manage your inventory.
So that's how we do it for eBay and
Hmm.
Amazon. So on eBay, if you're familiar with it, has a custom
Yeah.
SKU. So we'll
Yes.
put that as an F1 or F2, F3. That way it's a lot easier to look for an item than just us trying to remember where you put it at. And then same thing with Amazon. With Amazon, we just do it with the custom SKU, which
Yeah.
where the location for the item is at. And then, thankfully, most of our Amazon business is FBA, so we don't even have to worry about that. That's mostly for eBay.
Yeah, for since I've started selling on Amazon, that custom SKU, man, is key. I should have been using it earlier, but I told myself I got to use it now and put the model number. So that can help me. But I do like the setup back there because typically most people they're using bins and they have like a number system. But I mean, just depends on what items you're really selling.
Oh no, yeah, and that's what we do like that. And then you could see we have DVDs, and then every single DVD has its own number, and
Okay.
that number never repeats. So we know, it goes in order.
Yeah, I like it. I'm still trying to figure out a system myself if I'm gonna incorporate barcodes and then put the barcodes on the box, scan it just to verify, maybe scan the tag. I'm still thinking about it, Delver, but I really haven't came up with anything yet. But I know as you scale your business and you continue to bring in more items, you do got to be organized because if not, you're gonna run into a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the problems we run into when bulk. We're just
Yeah.
bringing too much stuff from all those containers, and at the beginning we're still trying to figure it out. Like, hey, what are we gonna do with all these DVDs? What are we gonna do with all this extra stuff that is not books? So we
Right.
start piling it out, and eventually, I mean, most of it is just gonna end up at the trash or a donation center. Unfortunately, I don't like donating back to the places I'm buying from because then I'm pretty much buying it back.
Have you seen that happen to you where it's like, man, I just scanned this book, now it's back?
No, I have not seen it, uh, but it is sad that I do hear of other resellers that will donate their doves or books that are not worth anything back to Goodwills or back to
Yeah.
Salvation Army or all these other places that sell books on gailers. So eventually, it just comes back to you, and I don't like doing that. So we either
Yeah.
donate it to another company that either donates it around the world, or we just literally trash it.
Yeah, and then also, do you work with any other book resellers? Like, do you network or maybe collab with other people that are doing what you're doing?
100%. 100%. I'm a big believer that you will not succeed in this business if you want to do things for yourself and want to be greedy with your source.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why is that? Why do you believe that?
because that's how I have gotten where I'm at. If it wasn't because another reseller told me to buy this item that's profitable, I wouldn't have made any profit off of that. And same thing, if it wasn't because another reseller told me, hey, call this source, they will sell you books by the Gaylors, I wouldn't known about it. I mean, eventually I would find out. I mean, I would call places, but
Right.
still, they take all that stress away, all that, I guess the wall between you and the source. They just open those doors for you, and I feel that that's a big thing.
Yeah. What would you say to the people that say, "Nah, man, I don't want to share my tricks or my tips or my sources"? Another reseller's my competitor. Why do you feel people have that mindset?
Um, I don't know. I mean, they might want to maximize it. I don't have nothing against it. If like for me, for example, I do have one item that one or two items that I get year round. Obviously, I don't
Mm.
want to share that because that's something I sell on a daily, and I don't want that item to go out there to the reseller community and then
Mm.
tanks, and now everybody knows about it and it's no longer a profitable item. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's gonna happen. Next thing is just it just keeps the way it is, but I feel like the majority of items,
Mhm.
everybody knows about it, and you just trying to hide it and keep it to yourself is it's not good. I mean, I can't really explain it. I mean, I
Yeah.
just don't believe on that. Unless it's just one or two items that is exclusively to you, then hey, by all means.
Yeah. You know what's funny when you said that? It's like something is so holy to you and you're making money, right? Now, when other people find out, it just tanks the price. Instead of like, why can't we do the opposite and increase the price? Now, people could do whatever they want, but just imagine if we did the opposite. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I work with other resellers because they tell me, hey, Dover, go look for this item.
Yeah.
It is I'm doing really good with this item, and I go ahead and do it. And same thing, because obviously I know where they're selling. I might know the price point. I'm not gonna go and undermine him and cut him, and now I'm gonna be the one selling, and he's just gonna be sitting with his inventory. So I always price my items either at the same price or higher, because
Okay.
eventually he's gonna sell out and then it's gonna be my turn, you
Okay.
know.
No,
And then
no, that's cool. No, I
yeah,
agree, man. I think that's a good way. I mean, there's more than one ways to skin a cat, but I think that way works. Since I've probably been following you since I've started reselling, but I've been watching your journey, and you're going through various things, and now you're in the book journey. But I know at one point you had a business partner, and I think for some people that are thinking about having a business partner in reselling, or perhaps they already do have one or whatever. What kind of advice would you give? Because I think, or just tell us kind of what the experience you had with the business partner.
um, I say think about it. My experience was ended up kind of bad, so I could be kind of biased on my
Yeah.
opinion here. But I'll say do your research and kind of plan it out what kind of business model you want to be into with that person, and then write a contract. Say, hey, my responsibility, in this business that we're getting together is this, and your responsibility is going to be that, and make sure that you guys, communicate from the beginning, not, halfway into the business, or, because you guys are buddies, you guys known each other for years, you guys gonna be like, no, we're gonna be good, we just talk it out. Unfortunately, when it comes to money, responsibility, and job that you need to do, that all are different things. One does not mix with the other. And unfortunately, when you have a friend, that could be in the way. Because if I have an employee, I'm gonna tell the employee, hey, you need to clean the restroom. The employee must have, more than likely is gonna do it. But if you tell your buddy, hey, it's your turn to clean the restroom, your buddy's gonna be like, I don't know if I want to clean the restroom today. I'll do it tomorrow.
He's gonna say, I'm the owner.
Yeah, I'm the owner, it's not my turn, or stuff like that. I just feel like if you're gonna get into a partner, talk about what a responsibility you guys gonna have, and then if you could wait it out and do things on your own, 100%, it will be a lot better.
Yeah. Now, you've had the business partner, it didn't work out. Would you be open to having an investor in your business?
No,
And why is that?
because that was the reason I made the first mistake to get into a business partner, because
Okay.
I felt that I needed the capital to grow a business, and I think I might have jumped into it too quick.
Hmm.
Because I was like, hey, you know what? It will help with the capital, and I didn't want to take a loan take a loan to grow a business that I wouldn't know if it was going to be profitable or not. So I was
Okay.
like, hey, you know what? It's a good idea to partner up with someone. Risk 50-50. I'll risk 50% of my money. He'll risk 50% of his money, and that way it's not 100% on you. And I think that's a bad idea. I think you should wait things out, save as much money as you can, and then plan it out. How long could you survive trying a new adventure? And if it doesn't work, will you be completely fine?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think that's in any startup, and I think reselling, the way that I look at it, it's like a startup, especially in the baby stages, the first year or even the second year, you hear a lot of resellers say, I reinvest everything back into the business. Now, if you do get an investor or you do get a business partner, you're now giving a percentage of the future away. So, like you said, think about it, write it down. Is it worth it? Do you want to give ownership away, you know, in your business? You just got to think about it. But I think that would be a wise thing to do.
Yeah, it's not even just give ownership away. Now you have a responsibility to someone else. Now you're playing
Mm-hmm.
with someone else's money, someone else's livelihood. If it's, as long as it's a bank, I mean, that might be a little bit different. But if, let's say, your mom is going to be your investor, now you playing with her money, or it could be a
Yeah.
brother or a sister. So for me, I wouldn't want to do that, at this point, because the partnership didn't go well. And that was the whole idea for it, was to have capital. I think right now, if I want to venture into like something bigger, I'll just wait it out, save as much money as I can, plan it out. If this business could survive for this long, and if it doesn't, am I gonna be okay?
Yeah. No, man. Well said. What is your favorite sneaker, Hustle for Profits? What do you like to wear when you're working or sourcing?
I'm not a sneaker guy. I
Yeah.
really, really, honestly, before all this reselling, I didn't know much about shoes. I care less. I could wear Payless. I could be wearing,
Yeah.
any kind of shoes. Um,
RBX,
Dude, they're free. I wear them.
the triple
so,
blacks, the triple blacks though.
so now I ended up getting some Jeezys. I posted up on a story. I'm like, hey, is they're comfortable or not? Because I really don't know. And a lot of people just hit me up like, hey, dude, those are comfortable. It's not just
Yeah.
a hype, because I thought it was a hype. Because I was like, hey, I got it. I'm gonna sell it. I could make a profit. And then everybody was like, hey, no, it is a comfortable shoes. And to be honest with you, I love it. They're really comfortable. And that's
Nice,
the
man.
only GC pair of shoes I have. I don't care. I don't care about it. They're dirty. They're white, by the way. So
Uh,
they got dirty
nice.
really quick.
What size do you wear?
9.5.
Okay, depending on the model.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Where can people find you on social media?
Pretty much Hustle for Profit on IG. I do
Hmm.
have a YouTube. Unfortunately, I haven't put that much work into it like I was
Yeah.
planning to at the beginning of the year. But it's just because, everything that's going on has been crazy.
Yeah, man. I remember you put out a video. You went to the Nike outlet with your son.
Yeah, and that
And
that was the beginning of it, and then that's when I ventured into doing bulk
yeah.
for books, and then that just took that plan away.
It was the beginning of the end, huh? It
It
was
was the
the
beginning of
first.
the. No, I
it
mean, yeah,
it
I'll
was the
get back
world
to it
you had the world premiere and the finale.
all in one day. I should put another one. Here's the end, like a 10-second one,
Where you're
like welcome back.
crying. You're crying in the video. Oh, that's funny, man. Who is your favorite reseller or resellers in the game right now, man?
Dude, I got a lot of favorites. I like everybody. I
Yeah.
just feel that everybody gives you a little bit of something that is useful.
Mhm.
Big shout out to what's called Reezy now, like
Yeah.
RNCY is he's sneaker guy. He sells a lot of shoes, tons of shoes, used.
Tons. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It just amazed me, And he's one of the reasons why I got into sneakers. You know,
Yeah.
I used to go back and forth with him, like asking him, like, hey, how much money could you make?
Yeah.
What kind of strategies you use, and that's some of the stuff I use from him too. There's just so much tons of people out there, and I could be going on talking about them. They're just great. Everybody out there in this community is great. Everybody will give you something that it will be useful.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think that's one thing that I like as well is that, if you have a question or maybe a problem, you can just throw it out there and someone will, hopefully give a response. But I mean, so far, man, the community is really cool. So it's definitely a pleasure to be a part of it.
No, yeah, and like I tell everybody that hits me up on my DM, if I cannot answer the question, I'll reach out to people that might be able to, and then we're always gonna try to get an answer out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Any last words, man?
No, I mean, thank you, man. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It was an honor talking to you and getting all these questions out there, answered
Yeah, man.
them.
I think yeah, I think it's great for the community, man. I think just to get a different perspective, I think people that are maybe looking to get into books, I think talking to you was great, man. Where it's like they can get some information that they probably could not get, or maybe were embarrassed or whatever. But hopefully, this conversation that we had serves the people very well, brother.
Hopefully, man, and like I tell everybody, just do it. Don't let someone tell you that it's hard or that it's just too much work or that it's not possible. Everything is possible. Just go out there and do it. Try it for
Hmm.
yourself. If you fail, I mean, it's gonna be a lesson, and eventually you're gonna learn from it and do something else, and it's gonna benefit you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well said. Well said. Hustle for profits. Thank you for being on the show today.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you to the audience for tuning in. You can find today's guests on Instagram at Hustle for Profits. You can visit the show's website at aresellersjourney.com, where you can find a link to my Instagram at ebayjoey and the show at A Reseller's Journey. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Remember, never forget why you started. Peace.
Man, peace.
Adios.